February 23rd, 9:43, defendant lobby number 2. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is? You're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's gonna bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Oh no. That's so much pressure. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. Well, you're not helpful. That's not that good. 10 a.m. courtroom number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. Once again, Edgeworth, is he my friend or not? It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. Hello, Disco. Yep, we are getting right to it. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. A professional witness. Call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The sandwich lady? The prosecution calls his first witness Mrs. Angel Starr. The cough-up queen? I don't know what that means. I like sandwich lady better, even though she wasn't really serving sandwiches. Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Oh, caviar. I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really woofing it down. Ah, and for you, I have a Fiesta Bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? And you, sir, did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? What does that mean? Is it too early for lunch? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. Ew. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name? Profession. Now. Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness, please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I am not finished eating. Hurry up. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Star was a special investigator with the police. Oh. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Miss Star was a detective? Oh, he's very surprised by that. I know who you are. Cough Up? Cough Up Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see. Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Star. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. Oh god, we have a diagram. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Away from the parking garage. Oh, unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Alright, these parking lot plans, those are going to come into play. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. Seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? This is what he does every time. This judge, he listens to one person, and then he's like, yeah, that seems right. Guilty. Well, Mr. Wright, I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Star. Wait, are they talking about me? They are, Phoenix. Yes. They are. Okay, let's hear this airtight testimony. Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I feel like that's telling, but we'll let her finish. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend, who works as a security guard, conflict of interest. When I sensed something, perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. You haven't been a detective in 2 years, ma'am. Oh, geez. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Remember that, y'all, right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching. Oh, Judge, get out of here. Huh. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. Judge, this is not a time for jokes. Are you trying to be clever? So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. That's right, it's merely a flesh wound. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. You bet we're going to cross-examine the crap out of her. We're questioning everything she says. First of all, what do you mean by this? Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off of the detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator, and if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired. So the prosecutors, like, hire the cops? A couple of times in this game, they've said, like, do you want a raise next year? Why do the prosecutors have anything to do with the investigative police? That seems like a conflict of interest. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend, hold it, who works there. This boyfriend, he's the detective? Not that boyfriend, the security guard. That boyfriend? You have several? Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot in A block. That's important because it was in red. It's up on the second level so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Oh yeah, okay. That makes sense. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime? When I sensed something, perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Hold it. You sensed something? You're saying you had a premonition of the murder? It felt like, how would you say? Oh yes. It was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds. Unrelatable. I have no idea what that means. Speaking of a detective's intuition, wasn't the victim, Mr. Bruce Goodman, also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. A young cheese? A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. Street cheese. A greenhorn. Then I must be hard, yellowed, and sharp as a tack. Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, there in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. I don't believe this. This seems too... Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. By garish car, you mean Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. Mr. Edgeworth's? Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it? Indeed it was. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Yep, witness. In your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me? Hair flip? I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism? I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are home. A photograph? You took this photo? You can't just be popping evidence the day of the trial, guys. The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over, and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunch boxes is rigged with a camera. What? I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this is most certainly the defendant. It most certainly is. Her coat is covered in blood and she is looking into the trunk of the car. But she's not stabbing. It says the moment of the crime. She's not stabbing anyone. Where's the other guy? Where's the knife? There's a lot of questions. Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Skye. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. Yep, that's about right. Prosecutors are, by nature, well-versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my Easter salad surprise set. You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg. I mean, a person. Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So the defendant was holding a knife. What the? Edgeworth's jumping in. Then she thrusts the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Hold it. Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise the knife to strike, no? Huh. The defense has a point. Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. But what about your intuition, ma'am? Too late? Yes, the next moment. The chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. Don't smile like that! Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. Okay, what do we have to work with? We have this thing, we have that thing, we have the knife, no prints. We have that. I thought I had to do something with this. And you witnessed this? You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with the knife? As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Mrs. Skye not holding a knife? That's what I thought that was weird that it said it was the moment of the crime. Miss Edgeworth, Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. And how can you tell that? 'Cause her coat is covered in blood? Blood splatter? Huh? Oh God, Phoenix. See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat? But it's a black and white photograph. So, true. I assumed they were blood stains. That's a good point. It could be oil from a car. Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? You got a better idea? Objection. Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-size lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Well, that's a little bit of a jump to say, ma'am. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in the photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Ah! These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder, a serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. All right, new testimony. The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it. I feel like that's a bold statement to make, that the rubber gloves prove it. I thought they were just like leather gloves. Like people wear gloves because she has a long coat on. If you're gonna wear a long coat like that, a lot of times gloves also work as well. It says to present the autopsy report, but I don't know why. The witness's statement is clearly faulty, Your Honor. What do you mean? Oh no, we're being penalized. On the fourth final statement of this testimony, present Goodman's autopsy report. Oh, present Edgeworth's knife on the statement that the murder was planned. I'm jumping ahead. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell lunchboxes for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. What's with this case? The bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there? The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right? Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon? This knife just happened to be in the trunk of the car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Order, order, order! Great, now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah. The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. She's real mad. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution needs to prove, nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned! If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing? I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. Oh, how dare you? Hair flip. My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now. All right. Angel's deduction. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. I thought he died of one stab wound. The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? So, if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. All right, let's do pressing also. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. You've said that, but you haven't told us how you know. That's what I'm about to tell you, rookie. I believe what she just said is a mere prelude to the story she's about to tell. Try not to interrupt her again, rookie. Never interrupt a storyteller. It's like pulling a bun out of an oven half-baked. Something's half-baked here, all right. And it's you! Try not to confuse the defense witness. They're not very quick on their feet. Now, why did you believe the suspect had intentions to murder the victim? Her actions speak for themselves. She called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. You have no proof that Miss Skye called him there. You have no proof that she didn't. Mr. Edgeworth, thoughts? There is no record of a call made to the defendant on Miss Lana Skye's phone. She might have written him a letter. Come on. You could have tried public phone. Yeah, there's a telephone in the parking garage. That's how I thought she was going to go. In any case, the victim came to the prosecutor's office where he was murdered. Okay. I'm sure he had a reason to be there. Witness? Why do you think it was the suspect who summoned the victim that day? I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. She's sure of a lot of things for not having any evidence. What kind of grudge? Well, I wouldn't know that. Of course you don't. That's because she didn't have a grudge. Rookie. I have a lunchbox here. Now, what's inside? How am I supposed to know? See, we agree there is a lunchbox here, but we don't know what's inside. A person's life is like a lunchbox with pretzels. Don't you agree? I get it. That's why my lunch was so salty. This judge isn't very good with metaphors. The suspect had a grudge against Detective Goodman. Will you tell us your basis for thinking this? It's simple. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. Wait, but it said he has one knife wound. You say she stabbed him again and again? But you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states the death was due to the loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha! You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk. He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed. I'm the one that said it happened. Well, witness? You got the crime scene set, right? Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify! Is she gonna say it was ketchup? Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole thing. Red muffler. Does that mean like, not a car muffler? Her red muffler. Yes, like a scarf. Okay, good. I'm glad I asked. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck. So she can be easily hanged at a moment's notice, I suppose. She's right. Oh, Miss Guy was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she? But wait, isn't it odd that you mistook that for splattered blood? Well, people often mistake my beard for a bib. No, they don't. Actually, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest. However, the autopsy report is clear on this matter. There was only one knife wound. Apparently, Miss Starr isn't entirely sure of her own testimony. Mr. Wright, this is our chance! Chance for what, I wonder? Miss Starr has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and even a really short wick will burn longer. Oh, she's writing that down. Obviously, more scientific testing is required. Let's check the photograph. Does she have... She's not wearing a scarf. She's not wearing a scarf at all. Lady. Okay, go back. Yeah, try again. Miss Starr, I demand an explanation. What? The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. Edgeworth is talking out his own suspect, which is really great. And you've proved it to yourself with this photograph. Huh? But that can't be. Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Is this why she was fired from being a detective? Congratulations. Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good. In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there. A scarf. No, not that, but something red, really. Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. I don't like any of her testimony anymore. She is untrustworthy as a source. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. True. This next testimony might just be our moment of truth. Okay. Okay. Apprehending the suspect. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. That thing that's really actually water has the water thing coming out of it that we learned. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Starr, resistance is futile. You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. Oh, a cobra is a snake. That's me, Angel Star. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Phoenix, you and me, we're on the same page. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bit. No thanks. Note to self. Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. She's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rare. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will. I feel like what's on her coat is oil, then. Apprehending the suspect. Okay. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. Hold it! So where is this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she means this wall next to the car. Yeah, that's where the water was. That's right. There was a wall there about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? Yeah, but the security room would have saw her. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. How did you get over there, though? You were behind a fence the whole time. You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Maybe I should press her for more details. Yeah, because there was a fence in between you. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed a murder from here? That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes. Is that correct, Miss Starr? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. You jumped over a fence. Okay. Amazing. The cough-up queen. Lunch lady athlete, indeed. It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence. So she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high. So how did Miss Sky not get away? This lady's just making up stuff. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. What do you mean mentioned it? She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say? If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard was her say the word muffler. Could she have meant the car muffler? Just that one word? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone to her sister. She said muffler. She said go to the muffler. Her phone? She can't mean... Ask further. By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory... It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see Miss Starr. The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall? That's right. There's a phone near the car. There was an emergency phone, so she wasn't trying to hide behind the wall. She was trying to go call someone on the phone. Apparently, it was out of order, and so she used her cell phone? Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order on that day. Huh. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying? You should, of course, add this to your testimony. The things I do to please the rookie defense attorney. Delana's cell phone updated in the court record. I saw it all, how she tried to use the phone on the wall, but had to use her cell instead. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile. So this is the new testimony. So this is usually where you have to do the thing. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Aha! I was going to ask the same thing. I'll only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket. Oh god, she just hopped that 9-foot fence. And during that time, you climbed over the chain-link fence. Then, when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this? What is it, Mr. Wright? The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile. How did she see her try to get behind the wall if there was a wall? She literally said there was a wall that she was hiding behind. How did she see her do that? Miss Star, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Skye. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me and I'll make you cough it all up. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen that Miss Skye was making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. The emergency phone was on the backside of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Oh, she's very upset again. Order, order! What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch, she's coughing up lies. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me to ask a question? Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about the order of events? Or where she saw it. Miss Skye tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Starr to lie about it. Pointless to lie, I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Skye using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I've ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed the crime was... I want to say the security room. This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room? Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor, so you can see the entire lot. Huh. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr, how many years have I been getting the better of men? To think the tables could be turned. Today, a man has gotten the better of Angel Starr. Order, order! Witness, what have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Skye? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. But no, because she's in front of the oil drum and the wall, and this is taken through a fence. This photo was taken before she was in the security room. This photograph does not say the defendant stabbed the victim. Objection! Objection, Edgeworth! No, objection! It still stands. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Me? Who else? Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Okay. Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference. But what? What would it change? I would say distance? It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Oh. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. It's the same. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see.
Objection!
What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Skye? Well, witness? You... Yes? You ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has now gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry for your boyfriend? He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. Oh my god. That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking lot in B-Block. That's where the photo was from. That's quite a detour. It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes? She wouldn't still be there after 5 minutes, would she? Oh, everyone's... Man, huh. This changes things considerably. But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear on my finest plastic spork. You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention. Would you like another caviar lunch? Absolutely. Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? Do I have any evidence to say she was 5 minutes late? I'm gonna object. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You could make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente. I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with that 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. No, exactly. She would run away. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. Miss Sky dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal will act that way. It's inconceivable. Oh. She's physically taken aback. Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on the account of her professional history. Yeah, that she got fired from? We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. That was too close. Yeah, we almost got all the way killed there. I'm afraid the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned. All right. Yeah, we almost died in our low health bar. Uh-oh. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to give to me. I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. What? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr. Huh. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Hoo-hoo, a triple-decker. Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she gonna pull out of her lunchbox this time? Decisive evidence. Okay. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on the shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Sky. How do you know that? This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. Is it, though? Is it? What? There was blood found on the shoe? Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple, as I've already said. I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, can they? Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, It seems you have yet another count against you, witness. Anything to ensure the guilty are properly judged. Victim's shoe added to the court record. Yeah, they just said blood type. But lots of people have blood types the same. Why would you go off of blood type? That's not definitive proof. Maybe they just said blood type in the game, but they actually meant like real blood test. Like for like an actual blood test. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. All right. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. Why didn't you? Why didn't you? Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results? How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank seems like nothing. Then why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. This when the suspect is admitting she did it? But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Yeah, much worse than murder, for sure. Let's just get this over with. And now to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? And you found this shoe at the scene of the crime? I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive. So, like the ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really. In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of a crime. Now, tell us what you did next. 2 types of blood were found on the shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, obviously. But we'll press anyway. So you brought it to the forensics department? If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need to have it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert. She got away with a little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it. Well, the man was stabbed after all. And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman? As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. The other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. How do you know? You can't say for sure the blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie? Huh. Well, speak up. Well, blood comes in 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold blood. Okay. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there. Which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down just to one person. Or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results, but they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone but Miss Lana Skye's. So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. This shoe proves it. A flawless, decisive piece of evidence. I can't let this evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with the shoe? A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? Yeah, I would say yes. Because if there's not, I don't know what else we would do. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there's one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with the evidence. Oh. Oh. There's blood on the bottom. Is that okay? It means she stepped through the blood. Take that! I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood being on the bottom of his shoe? Well, because wasn't it all over her coat? There's no blood on the ground. There's no blood on the ground. So, the problem lies in the footprint. Okay. I didn't say that, but sure. The footprint. Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found at the scene of the crime? Aha! I mean, that's kind of what I said. I said there was no blood on the ground, so that's similar. As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about the shoe. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order, order! Well, witness? What? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of footprints is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright, think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? No, no, no. I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There was one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator. A leopard woman. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness! Well, was the oil drum empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? To wash away the bloody footprints. You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason, and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to the murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, this guy's right hand was hurt. Yeah, she said she cut herself when she stabbed him, which is weird. So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe? Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please! What can I do? Objection? Your sister has confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it. But... Enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well. But Angel Star is on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you just say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well. I thought you had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox? A lunchbox called evidence? Well, wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else. The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this. A photograph? I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in that photo. Hey, it's clearly wet. Yeah. Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right. Wet or not. Don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt and take another good look. Don't give up, not until the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence. Very well, this time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. No, no, no. Objection! Your Honor, wait. What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in the photograph. Oh, it's the muffler, the car muffler. That's what she meant when she said muffler. Take that! The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. That's what I said before when she brought it up. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, you just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. A muffler is also a part of a car or a motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see. And I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler? Huh. So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Muffler! I can't present it right now, but I'll present it in a minute.
Objection!
Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why it's important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to the case. Because she said it.
Take that!
Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler. Could it be that muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Oh. Oh no. Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? I suppose so. Whew. That was close. But we made it. At least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. He's so hungry. He's been doing nothing but eating this entire trial. There's no way he's still hungry. To be continued.